What's up, everybody? We back at it. Cash Color Cannabis, a high level of conversation. Back on LivehiphopDaily.tv. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you doing tonight, Mecca?
I'm doing well. I want to say, first, before we introduce everybody, I want to let everybody know how much better I feel right now that he turned this fan on. I tried to explain to her, like, darker skinned people such as myself, you turn all these lights on me, I turn into coffee, dog. It started just, all this shit just start heating up. So thank you for putting the fans on, man. But yeah, thank you to everybody. We had a special guest in the building. Introduce yourself, man.
Well, I am D. Dawkins Hagler,
Yep.
and I am the founder of Global Cannabis Alliance.
Yes, ma'am.
And I am excited to be in here and talk to you today.
All right.
I want to hear about what's going on with you.
Oh, you want to hear what's going on with me?
Yes, I do.
Oh, that's a deep story. Like, it's literally a everyday type thing, man. From movies to the podcast to life, you know.
So tell me about this movie that I'm not in.
Oh, the movie you're not in. Actually, I tried to get you in. It's funny. I got proof of an email too. I sent you an email, but it's called The Color Green, Cash Color Cannabis. It's about the lack of minorities in the cannabis industry. You know, we've been filming it for a year and a half, and we got 2 more months of filming. And we're trying to see if we can. Well, we've been in negotiation. We're trying to get it into the Atlanta Film Festival next year. So shout out to my man Cal Boulder and everybody over at the Atlanta Film Society. So hopefully we make that happen next year with the documentary. But we still can get you in. You know, LaDawn Jones is in it, so I definitely want to get you in.
Yeah. Because I'm gonna feel some type of way.
Okay.
LaDawn's my girl, so I know she probably was holding it down.
Man, she did too.
Yeah,
man, well, all right, let's get to this conversation.
Okay.
Let's get to this conversation. You see, she's a lively human being. How did you get into politics in the first place? Like, what brought D. Dawkins Hagler into this wild world of politics?
So that's a good question. So I'm originally from South Carolina,
Okay.
and so my very first political stint or being engaged was being appointed by the governor at that time to the parole board. And so I had many juveniles. I was over there, all the juveniles in the state. And so what I was realizing was a lot of my young boys were being incarcerated for simple possession of marijuana or truancy and things like that. And so I figured that what I needed to do was really get deep into it and try to change laws that would prevent them from being incarcerated in the first place. I took a lot of heat the years that I was the chair of the parole board, the youngest, the first black, first female, the youngest to chair the parole board, the juvenile parole board, because they said I was letting not too many young African Americans from the juvenile justice system.
Look, and in South Carolina.
And in South Carolina.
Like, I went to school in North Carolina. I went to John C. Smith, so my mom used to ban me from going to South Carolina.
Well, South Carolina is not that bad, but they will lock you up. So that's how I got started on that.
Yes, they will.
They will.
Yeah, and they take you to the big jail. You don't go to the little jail. They go big jail immediately in South Carolina. So
they do.
Yeah.
So we had to look at that situation, and from that, I said, I think I would serve even a better job if I was elected to the General Assembly to write some of the laws.
Okay.
When I moved to Georgia.
All right, that's what it is. So you basically been doing this for a while.
I've been doing it for a while. I was appointed to the parole board at 29, and so that was a good little while ago.
Yeah. So and it sounds also that decriminalization of cannabis has been like a thing of yours for a while now as well.
It has been a thing of mine because I am, like I said, I was really concerned about the mass incarceration of our young people. Yeah. And one of the common denominators was, simple possession of marijuana or possession and so drug use. And I was like, well, we got to do something about this situation. And so that's how I started with a lot of the decriminalization aspect. But then the medical part came from a lot of people that I knew who were suffering from different ailments. And then in 2015, I myself was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I was but I'm good. Look at me. Don't I look good? Right. Because God is a healer, right? So
hey.
So one of the things I didn't want to do was get caught up in that opioid whole frenzy, because I was like, I don't trust drugs that are made by the man. I just don't trust them too much.
No, I understand.
Of the impact, and I've seen too many people dying, and now you see that the country is dealing with this whole opioid addiction situation. So I was like, what can I do? And so I'm on many task force at that time as a legislator around the country. So I was in Colorado the day they became legal with my Colorado legislators. I was in Washington State the day it went legal in Washington State with my Washingtonian legislative camaraderies. I've been in California with the California legislator. So I've been, whenever it was coming on board to become legal, I would be there at the front, at the beginning with them.
Okay, that's what's up. And you was also there in the beginning for Georgia. You was there. Speak to us about how you got into politics in Georgia and how you you kind of bumped heads. I want to speak to us about bumping heads when it came to making sure there was a diverse enough panel when we started actually exploring medical marijuana in Georgia.
Okay, so you just asked me about 3 questions
Yeah,
in
3
one.
in
So
one.
when I
Like
came,
literally right there.
Okay, so I came to Georgia to go to grad school to
Okay.
work on my PhD in political science, and then I kind of took a little turn because I ended up. While I was working on my PhD, I ended up going to seminary. At the same time because I'm also a minister.
I was going to say, you a pastor too?
I'm not a pastor anymore.
Okay.
I'm still in clergy, but I try to help people understand what we have to do in this industry.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm laughing at the people in the room now. They're like, "Oh Lord, you got a preacher in the room." So anyway, I got started like that in the political arena.
Yeah.
Because I've always been involved on the national level as well. Have worked on a lot of national campaigns. I've done a lot of stuff in my life. And then I said, what can my impact be here in Georgia? And so it was the General Assembly.
Yeah.
Now, the past 4 years, so let me set this up. So one of the things I always do, I'm never ashamed of who and what I am. I'm unapologetically black. That's just who I am, unashamedly and unapologetically black, because that's how God made me. And so that being said, a lot of times black people suffer from disparities, whether it's healthcare, whether it's education, transportation, jobs, whatever. And so I knew that someone had to have a strong voice to speak up for the masses of black people. So when I got into the General Assembly, I ran for chair of the Black Caucus. And so I ran for the chair of the Legislative Black Caucus. And so for those viewers who may not know, the Legislative Black Caucus, that's kind of like the governing body for the African American officials who present and uphold the issues of all the black people in a particular state. So in the state of Georgia, we have 10 million people, 3 million are black. That means we make up 30% of the population. And so we had to have a strong voice. And so they said because I was new and had only been in the General Assembly 2 years, they did not think I could win that position, because Georgia is also the largest black caucus in the nation. 61 members in the House and the Senate. And they said, well, will this young woman be able to lead the caucus? And the answer was yes. So they voted for me to be the leader of the caucus. And then I was re-elected subsequently after that. So I was elected to chair the caucus in 2013. So from 2013 to 2015, and then from 2015 to 2017, my term was up in January. Now, I said all that to say, so when the governor appointed his task force for cannabis, medical marijuana, there were no African Americans, no Hispanics, no Asians, no Native Americans. And I said, what is this? This doesn't even look like Georgia. And so I made a lot of fuss about it. He didn't want to do anything about it. And I said, don't talk about it, be about it, Mecca. So I said, so I'm just going to create my own commission. I could do that. I'm the chair of the Black Caucus. I have the power, the credentials. Why not make it happen? Because the worst thing that you could ever have is a person in a position of power who don't use their power for good. Because we have enough elected officials now that's all about themselves, that never stand up for the people, because they want to do what's politically expedient. They don't, they're scared to take a hit. See, I can take a hit, because if you can survive, if our people can survive the transatlantic slave trade, coming across those waters and being slaves and being subservient, if they can survive that, then surely I can survive standing up for black people and getting a hit every now and then. So
amen.
I said, let's start our own cannabis coalition, because you had people like Coach Harris, who was coming to the Capitol harassing me, and so he would come in the room and be like, I want to talk to you about marijuana. And I'd be like, no, because one, I didn't know enough about who he was, and he had, some other people around, but finally he wore me down. Sometimes it takes persistence. And so he came, I heard what he had to say, and others who came to the Capitol to lobby, and I knew that the information was there about what we needed to do. And so we formed the Minority Cannabis Coalition. At that time, that was the first Minority Cannabis Coalition that was put together by a group of policymakers in the country. So I said, okay, I can do this. And from that, here we are today. We're here. So that was a long way around.
It's no problem. I was the one who asked you 3 questions in one. So, thinking about it right now, how do you feel about what you see in Georgia when it comes to medical marijuana? I know we have HB 722. Alan Peake has been huge when it comes to creating a bigger conversation about what's going on in Georgia. But do you feel like on the diversity side, it's becoming what you sought out early when you formed your coalition?
we have a lot of work to do. So first of all, let me do this. I do have to give a shout out to Alan Peake because he really did get in there and get some things done. But he also was in the majority party. The majority party has the control. So he has, he had the microphone. But what he didn't realize is that my voice, even though I may be short in stature, my reach is long too. So I had the voice to start some things to make them happen. Yeah. So I said, well, what do we need to do to get this cannabis coalition going so that minorities can have equal playing field, at least be able to get in the game. And so one of the things when they started passing, so in 2015 we passed Haley's Hope, right? Yep. And so Haley's Hope at that time only had 8 conditions, but one of those conditions that the Black Caucus fought really hard for Mecca was sickle cell anemia, which because they were not even going to add it. And I said, let me explain something to you. If you have no diseases on here that specifically have a heavy impact on those who are people of color. And if you all know this, sickle cell anemia and lupus and things like that, they disproportionately affect African Americans, that was us. And so I said, this bill will not pass unless you add one of those conditions. And so the one we fought with and ran with was sickle cell. And so needless to say, because the Black Caucus, we did vote as a block on that. Remember, I said we had 61 members between the House and the Senate so that sickle cell could be added. Yeah. And so sickle cell was added. Now, fast forward 2 years, they added 8 more conditions to the bill. But even having all those conditions added to the bill does not mean that they will take care of people of color. Because remember, this is a multi-billion-dollar industry, right? And so they already have in mind some of the cats they want to have to get the licensing, to do all of the sales. But I was like, but not on my watch, because I know too many people, and if we all rise up together, then we can do anything. But fair, because it's strength in numbers. There's enough people, even in this room that you have, that could sink a battleship if they get their minds in the right place. If we work collectively together. And so. In 2016, they came and they wanted to let me back up. So 2016, when they came to me, I was still the chair of the caucus. We would like to add more conditions and do licensing. I said, well, how many of these licensings, if we do 5, if we start with 5 or 7, will go to black people? It's like, well, we can't put that in the legislation. And I said, well, then you can't get our vote. Because what you're not going to do is have benefited from the mass incarceration of black people in an industrialized prison system. And then you think you're going to turn around and then make money off the black folk when this thing become legal and then the dollars are to be made. So that's not going to happen. So we shut it down for that year. So we came back the following year.
So you was just the fly in the ointment for them for the most part.
They'll be all right. I'm a modern day Harriet Tubman. So they gonna be all right. We either gonna get there together or we go. I don't mind doing murder suicide, not real killing, but I mean when I mean murder suicide, I mean I can kill a bill or I can kill something that's not going to be beneficial to my people, even if it means killing myself in the process. Because there's too many black folks that will take a little something here and there because they think they special or they think they can get ahead. But until we move together. Yeah. Then we always gonna be behind. So you gotta move together. So I didn't mind taking a hit because I know they need it more than we do. They want this to pass because it's $1 billion industry. Yeah. So they gonna either do the right thing or it's still gonna be held up. Now I trust and believe that those who are left in the Black Caucus, because like I said, my term ended in January, and I didn't run for re-election to my seat. I ran for Senate seat, and I wasn't victorious. And why? Because, let me just tell you real quick. So when I ran for my Senate seat, Republicans in the state of Georgia or Democrats, you can cross over to other parties during the election. Yeah. A lot of states don't have that because the Republicans crossed over in my primary, which they had never done before, especially concentrated in the Rockdale area, because they said, we got to take this black woman out. She has too much influence. 800 of them crossed over in the primary, and I only lost the vote by 8 votes. So had they not came over...
So they got you out the paint.
They got me out. So they thought. Yeah. But I'm more dangerous on the outside than I was on the inside. So they thought. All
right now. Yeah, so you was basically the fly in the ointment there. So that's what you helped to take a forever.
Yeah, and I took it.
But you did it for a good reason, and I would say that too, because you don't see a lot of politicians actually make a stand like that, and you definitely don't see too many of color make that stand. You know what I'm saying? Like you say, it's one thing to get that little bit of power, but it's another thing to know what to do with it.
You got to know what to do with your power, and so you got to be conscious, because when this bill comes back around now, and so we now have the 16 conditions, but you can legally have the oil in Georgia, but you cannot cultivate, and then you cannot legally sell. So we really passed a bill that you can have possession, but how do you get it? How do you get it?
Catch-22.
It's catch-22.
Yeah.
And then for a lot of us that look like us, you're gonna get locked up if you try to get it to other people. So that's the disconnect.
I was gonna ask you that question too, because that was one thing that Alan Peake actually made national headlines for doing. That was basically doing something that we all in this. Well, I'm assuming everybody in this room would know is illegal.
Like he's legal because and I tell him all the time. I said, see, you're a white man that's a millionaire, multi-millionaire that lives in Macon, Georgia, who owns like all the Cheddar's restaurants and has a private jet. He can fly around.
Whoa, Alan Peake.
Alan Peake owns the Cheddar's, right? I didn't know if y'all knew that. So anyway, he got money for days, most of our legislators that are down there who are, some of my white good friends, the Republicans, they're, well-established people who own like the Waffle Houses and the other rest. They own a lot of stuff.
They can afford to get into the trouble.
So they can come down there and play because it's playtime, not playtime. They're serious. But I told him, see, you didn't get arrested. If I had so-called anonymous boxes shipped to my house once a month, and then I disperse them to people. Yeah, that's called traffic.
That's trafficking, bro.
I'm going. Y'all in this room, we're going to jail. That's where we're going.
Yeah,
but Alan Peake, he can do it. Representative Alan Peake, he can do that because
that's 100% trafficking.
He's because of who he is, and he's getting attention and applause because he's helping the kids who have autism.
He's doing it for a good
all
cause.
this other stuff, but. I've been doing the same thing for a good cause and giving to people who have lupus or HIV/AIDS or sickle cell. Guess where D is going?
You telling that story from jail?
Let me tell you.
Telling that story from jail, man. Before we get to a break, I do want you to speak briefly. Are you going to run for another office?
Well, that is what I'm doing. I have an exploratory committee right now to run for Secretary of State for Georgia.
Against Brian Kemp?
No, Brian Kemp is running for governor.
Brian Kemp needs to be all the way out the paint.
It's an open seat because not only do I care about voting rights, because that's important. That's what the Secretary of State does, but I don't know if other people realize that the Secretary of State also gives all the licenses in the state of Georgia, deals with all the securities in the state of Georgia. So there are a lot of different things that the Secretary of State office does and bringing business and industry to the state and being on top of that. So this is what I'll be doing, is running for Secretary of State. And it will require people like you, Mecca, and your listeners, your followers, the people that's in this room, to then go back out and tell the story. We have someone that's running for Secretary of State who understands all of the dynamics and things that are at play, and that can get behind me. Because I'm sure some people in this room may not have voted the last couple of elections. Yeah, because they might be sick of politicians saying you're gonna do something and then you don't do it, you don't follow through, or why should I go? Have I seen you putting the skin in the game? But I'm hoping that if more righteous brothers and sisters get into the political arena, like some of y'all in this room, need to really seriously consider running for office. Don't just sit at home and quarterback from your couch or from your car, be cussing at the TV. You got to get in, because it takes. You can't win unless you're in the game.
No, I feel you. That was one thing I actually did last couple months ago from John Ossoff. Matter of fact, we went out there, campaign, got the police called on me. It was a lot. Yeah, and they really called the police because it was a racial thing. So we're in 2017, and they were targeting. Profiling black people who were out campaigning for Ossoff. Oh yeah, they did a story. Like, matter of fact, the funny part about that story is the route was actually following us that day. So that's how we got the police called on us. I knock on somebody's door to say what's up, and she looks behind me and she sees these two black dudes standing on the corner. Oh no. Yeah, so we had a nice little conversation, and before you know, if I walk down the street, I see 3 police SUVs fly on opposite direction. So they were stopping any and everybody who was on that street, and come to find out when the story ran, apparently they called the police on me for knocking on their door like that. Yeah, so that's Georgia. That's Georgia. That's the South. That's Georgia, man. So when we get back, we're going to take a brief break real quick. This is actually the 20th anniversary. This week is the 20th anniversary of Missy Elliott's Super Duper Fly album, her debut album. I thought to pay homage for that, we dropped her the video for Super Duper Fly, because that was one of my favorite videos of all time. So I know it's a little bit out of order, but throw Missy Elliott on Super Duper Fly. When we get back, we're going to talk to D. Dawkins Hagel about the Global Cannabis Alliance and what more initiatives you're doing to try to get people of color more aware of what's going on with this cannabis industry. So stay tuned. Cash Color Cannabis, a higher level of conversation on LivehiphopDaily.tv. We'll be back. Okay. All right, what's up, everybody? We back. Cash Color Cannabis, a high level of conversation on LivehiphopDaily.tv. Still with my special guest, the Honorable D. Dawkins Hagel in the building.
Yes, it's still good. I'm still hanging on. I'm hanging on.
I appreciate you. Appreciate everybody who in the audience who came by for the Uncle Dude's Bake Nation pop up. Remember, if you're on Instagram, use the hashtag CC Live. Cash Color CCC Live. Excuse me. Cash Color Cannabis Lives. # Cash Color Cannabis Live. CC Live. So next we're gonna talk to you about some cannabis stuff, man, because I know you're into a new organization called the Global Cannabis Alliance. Speak to me about how you got involved in that and what exactly are some of the goals for the Global Cannabis Alliance.
Okay, so I'm glad you asked that. So the Global Cannabis Alliance basically is an organization that is pulling together all the different organizations, because it's fine to have all the different various organizations, but if you don't have someone that's kind of pulling everybody together so that we can have a collective agenda, then you may not get things accomplished, because there is strength in numbers. And what do I mean by that? Sometimes when you have like a lot of organizations like the NAACP or the SCLC and all these different groups, sometimes you have to have a mechanism in place every now and then to convene like the National Action Networks all together in one place so they can talk about the issues that plague us. So the Global Cannabis Alliance, I actually have two organizations, but Global Cannabis Alliance, that's dealing with bringing everyone together. That's going to be the big umbrella so that we could actually push cannabis, hemp policies in this country the way that needs to be, and have the real conversations to get us all on equal footing across the country. And so that means if you have an organization like Cannabis, Green Rush Team, or the Urbanomics,
or the Minority Cannabis Business Association.
Yes, Minority Cannabis Business Association. You all come together so that we can get this agenda moving, because if I don't know anything else, I know public policy, and I know how to approach public policy, being a policymaker myself. And so we've just got to bring everybody together to harness our strength. And so one of the ways that we're doing that is what we're having at the Capitol on Friday. And so I'm really excited that at the Capitol on Friday, this will be the first time something like this has happened in the country, when you have those who are leaders in the industry, those on the medical side, those on the business entrepreneurial side, I guess, and then all of those who are elected officials coming together, policymakers, to have a joint conversation on where we see this going, in particular for minorities. Where do we see this? What's going to happen? How do we get included in the game? What kind of resources do we need to pool together so that we can actually get those licenses and do the things that we need to do? Okay,
that's what's up. How hard? Well, I'll say that question for the last one. Who are some of the people who are going to be involved in the hemp and cannabis event that's going on this Friday? Like, who are some of the speakers?
Okay, so we have so many different speakers, and I hate to start listing them because I may leave some out, and then that's really, really bad. But let me start with my colleagues. So I'm bringing in some elected officials from outside of Georgia as well as in Georgia. So Representative Billy Mitchell, have to give him a shout out. I want y'all to shout him out. He's actually our host for at the Capitol. He's also the vice president of the National Black Caucus of State Legislators. So let's see how it works. You have a black caucus on every state level, and then you have the umbrella, which is the National Black Caucus. And so Billy Mitchell is vice president of the National Black Caucus. He actually succeeded me on the board. When I came off in January, I was I just thought about this. I was a board member, executive board member on every national, almost elected official board there is in the country, like literally. And that had never happened in the history of politics. So I don't even know how that kind of happened to this young girl that came up in the hood from West Columbia, South Carolina. But it's amazing how I started off in the juvenile justice system and look where I am now. You see what I'm saying? So anyway, and I went from y'all are in this room, I actually went from a GED to a PhD. So I'm telling you, gotta kind of, I did.
Man, look at God.
So I'm just trying to
look at God, man.
I did.
Ain't you a testimony?
I am. So I went to South Carolina State, got my bachelor's degree, went to Kentucky State, got 2 master's degree, came to Clark Atlanta, did the PhD, went to seminary and got my master's of divinity, and then a couple of months ago I had a doctor of ministry conferred upon me on top of all those other degrees that I had.
Look, D. Dawkins ain't trying to hear your excuses. She ain't trying to hear your excuses, man.
Yeah. And the reason how I got in the juvenile justice system and getting in trouble was I dated a lot of drug dealers when I was in high school, even though I was,
Behind the scenes with D-Doc and Hagler's life. So she dated the trap boys. All right, proceed.
And so I kind of knew how the system was set up, and so now I'm on the other, I'm on the other side. So I'm trying to. This is a corrective measure. So my life is a corrective measure.
Yeah, it is. Like literally, you was a trap queen. Like Fetty Wap made a whole song about you.
Oh my God, I don't even know who that is or what that is.
Oh, you cool? You don't need to know. You don't need to know. You might want royalties.
Okay.
Like that's about me.
Okay. So anyway, so fast forward. In this conversation, I knew what needed to be done at the Capitol, bringing all these people together from around the country, and so, and I think I'm, what is I going to say?
Oh, we were talking about who's going to be here. So
who's going to be here? So let's talk about. So we have from Alabama. We have Wandling Govan. She is a tough sister. She is the second vice president of the National Organization of Black Elected Official Women. Yeah. We have coming in from the state of South Carolina, Representative John King, who is the chair of the South Carolina Legislative Black Caucus, and so that's big. That's huge. We have Mayor Terry Clarksville, who's going to talk about how most of y'all know him from the decriminalization that he did in the city of Clarkston, and we have Senator Harold Jones coming in from Augusta, Georgia.
Harold Jones.
And y'all know Harold Jones is trying to do a lot of work around decriminalization. So that's who's going to be on the panel that I'm moderating.
Okay.
And then we have some people who are flying in from around the country. We have Virgil Grant, who's starting an organization here in Georgia.
The California Minority Alliance is what he has.
So he's going to do Georgia
out here.
The smoke is getting me.
She's talking to you. You, sir.
So he's going to come in. He's going to talk about things you do in the industry. You're going to have Dr. Hodge, who is helping a lot of people who are suffering from all of those conditions, the 16 that are listed, helping people find some compassion and care and how to be able to get the license here in Georgia so that they can get the relief that they need. Who do we have coming in? Call out a name.
Rafiki is one of the advocates coming out of DC.
Got my girl. You got my man Brandon Wyatt, man. Brandon Wyatt, bro. Big.
Brandon Wyatt.
Hey, that's bro right there.
We got Jesse Horton coming.
Oh yes, Jesse.
We got
So Jesse Horton coming from
We got Sterling Crockett, who just secured the license in Pennsylvania.
Should we get Coach a mic at this point? Should we get? No, we did not. Because I could have read that off Instagram. I know who's gonna be at the event. It's cool though. We'll remind everybody, because most likely if you're listening to this later, you couldn't hear anything but womp like we was on Charlie Brown. But we got Jesse Horton coming in with the MCBA. You got Virgil Grant coming with the Carolina. Excuse me. I'm still thinking Carolinas. California Minority Association. You got my homie Roz McCarthy coming down from Minorities for Medical Marijuana out of Florida. Brandon Wyatt, Esquire. Say his name correctly, man. That's a lawyer, dog. He's gonna get you out of a lot of trouble. Shout out to my man Brian Wyatt coming down. You said Scrogger coming too?
Yeah, Scrogger coming and Bishop.
Scrogger and Bishop come through. Say word. Hey, Bishop, you coming down, man? I should ask him if he's gonna do a live show of his show down in that he does in DC. We know what. We not waste D time. I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's all in love. It's all in love.
I gotta remember whenever I have Coach in the room, I gotta remember that I gotta put extra rules on Coach too. Like, Coach, you cannot interrupt the show. Coach cannot grab a mic when he wants to. You know what I'm saying? Coach can't come and pull a chair in, which he's done. Bring a chair over for this person. They can't be doing this, man. It's my show, man. Arsenio wouldn't let somebody do that.
So and you're on top of your game, Mecca, because I appreciate you. I appreciate you and the show that you're doing here, bringing knowledge to the people, and then all the people that are in this room. Shout out to y'all, because whatever y'all got going on, everybody seems to be real relaxing and happy.
Yo, we have the most lit audience on earth. Hey!
Yes, and so one of the people that I want to thank also is Johannes, and he has Uncle Dudes and what's the other thing?
Bake Nation.
For being a very good supporter from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of things we have to do.
Yeah, you know it's funny. Yeah, let's get another hand. Yeah. Well, actually, we gotta give a super hand for our sponsors, Bake Nation, Uncle Dudes. One, because they keep the crowd here. I know for a fact none of y'all come for me. Like I know that none of y'all pull up to see me talk about nothing. You come here because you think there's gonna be edibles, and you got a place where you can sesh up, and also there's a conversation. So I totally understand that. Thank you, you know what I'm saying, for giving people a reason to come see Cash Color Cannabis podcast, high level of conversation.
Yes.
So it sounds like the event y'all gonna have Friday is gonna be very informative for people.
Yes, and so I really want people to come out if you can. Space is limited.
Okay.
However, you will never, this will be the first time you ever see that many different people who are leaders in the industry talking in one place at one time about issues that are pertinent to African Americans, to minorities.
Hey, I totally agree with you, man. That's an important thing to do.
So you won't just be hearing it from third hand. You'll be right there with the people who can make the decisions. So just for us to have the people from South Carolina, Alabama, and Georgia in the room is great. I tried to get some of my other friends, but don't worry, we're having some big stuff coming up in October, and I'm going to be doing little things here and there to do more education. I'm going to be popping up around the country with the Global Cannabis Alliance, and I also have the Minority Cannabis Coalition, and the difference between those two is the Minority Cannabis Coalition is bringing together policy leaders with a few industry leaders across the country, so anyone can get involved, but it's dealing specifically with minority issues, whereas Global Cannabis Alliance is broad and it's international.
Okay. All right. That's what it is. So it sounds to me like you all about this right now. Like, it's not like a joke with your life.
Well, it's serious for me for several reasons. One, let's just talk about that medicinal side. It can help people.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people who are suffering, who are going through, and who don't want to be caught up on prescription drugs. And so we have to really think about how this has helped people such as myself who was a breast cancer survivor. So I'm glad it was not available, that it was accessible to me in other countries if I needed it. And then we also have to look at the entrepreneurial side. I mean, even though we're using it for medicinal purposes, we have to make sure that when we do that, people can get in on this industry in an equitable way.
Yeah.
Equitable way. It's the equitable way.
It is. I'm like, yo, look at y'all, man. The one time y'all messed up a guest.
Equitable way, right? So
Him?
I'm just saying we got to have that conversation, because if not, you all will be left out of the game. In these states, because they don't have the language in there. So that means the work has to come from the ground. The pushback has to be, how do we get this stuff in the language? And in order for you to do that, you have to make sure that you support those people who are in the arena, in the political arena, who are doing the right thing. So you gotta give them some financial support too. Because a lot of times you'll say, well, I need so-and-so to do this, or you didn't do this. But did you help that person when they were running for office? Do you look out for them to see what they need so they continue to be strong, continue to be viable? And then, like, even for me, when I'm getting ready to do this move, I'm going to need people to support me financially as well, because it takes money. It takes coal to make a train run, right?
Yes.
Right.
Wait, let's not say that too loud, because Donald Trump's trying to bring coal back, and I don't.
Let's not say that.
Let's not say it too loud.
We got to be real careful with the words we use around him. So we got to be in this fight, because if we're not, then things will continue to happen to us if we don't speak up and have a strong collective voice. And mind you, I said collective. And so what I don't want to happen. So this is a message to all of you all who are my brothers and sisters. How we're going to keep strong in this. Do not hate on each other. Do not try to take each other out, because this industry is large enough for everybody to get in and find a place.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm seriously mean that. And so when we start trying to pick each other off, or we allow other people to pick us off, that's when our power is diminished. Yeah. So with this industry, especially on the hemp side, we haven't even started talking about hemp. Hemp is in the fabric that you wear, the jeans that you're wearing, the sneakers on your feet, the cars that you drive, the carpet on the floor, the curtains on the windows. That's hemp. Yeah. And we import 80% of the hemp in this country. So just imagine when we start really cultivating hemp the way we need to, and take that away from Canada and China and certain places in Africa, and we just cultivate here in the United States. Y'all can get involved in hemp, and then it is so many different venues for this industry between cannabis and hemp that we should not be fighting. So if you see a brother or sister who has, they selling CBD oil, don't say, well, they're trying to eliminate me from the competition, or they selling this. No, find a way collectively to say, let's kind of work this thing together. You kind of be here, you do this, and find other ways to, you might create packaging, or you may create transportation, or you may create, I don't know. So many different ways to get at this. So I plan to be like, how you saw on Queen Sugar. Do any of y'all watch Queen Sugar? Yeah. Queen Sugar?
I haven't seen it.
Okay, some of y'all don't watch Queen Sugar, but
I haven't seen it. Is it good?
So that's okay. So Queen Sugar, really, I'm just talking about the sugar cane industry and how in this particular show, this is a black family that's trying to, do farming, but they just bought a big old processing plant so all the black farmers can come together and do what they need to do collectively. So what I'm saying is I'm kind of like Queen Hemp right now. Queen whatever, and I'm trying to get all the people together so that we can build something big and we can create generational wealth for our families, for our people, and have a conversation. So when these licenses come on board, some of them may be expensive at $50,000 to $100,000 a license, and you may not be able to do that on your own. The capital is just to start off, but if you partner with a couple of brothers or sisters, you might be able to do that. So what I'm saying is, don't get caught up in this game where they start dividing us. I need everybody to stay together and push this movement together.
All right, man. Wise words from the Honorable D. Dawkins Hagler. She used to be a trap queen. Now she's slinging knowledge, man. Now she's slinging knowledge.
I don't know, the trap queen.
I'm playing with you. But when you find out, you're gonna probably be like, I can't believe he called me a trap queen. You're not a trap queen.
That's okay. Tell me what your trap treats are called, because I just want to use the acronym for a second. Okay, so when you say trap, I'm to rising above poverty. That's what trap means, to rise above poverty. Y'all with that?
Okay, well, you trapping hard out here. I appreciate you. So we're going to cut to a video real quick. ASAP 12E. Shout out to the ASAP mob, man. 12E has been teasing people with a debut album for a while. I guess maybe he's going to gear up to actually give people that album. I actually like him as a rapper. I think 12E's pretty decent. Check out his video, Strap, though, man. Hopefully it's a lead up to a new single from the man, or a new album from the man. We're going to see that soon. So check that video out. We're going to come back and we're going to speak a little bit more with Dee before we let her go and leave this cloud-filled haze of a room that she's in. Oh, okay. Hopefully, man, again, dark-skinned people, man, you got to recognize how lights do to us, dog. All right, so we're going to come back, man, with D. Dawkins Hagler, Cash Color Cannabis, a high level of conversation on LivehiphopDaily.tv. How many minutes? What's up, everybody? Cash Color Cannabis, a high level of conversation on LivehiphopDaily.tv. We back. Thank you again for our guest. Hey, D.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good, man. You've been great today.
I'm still holding on.
You are. I appreciate you for coming through and sharing your knowledge about politics, about the cannabis industry, and everything that you're working on right now. If they want to know, how can they find you on Instagram, or how can they find you online?
Okay, good. Now, I don't post a lot on Instagram. I guess I need y'all to help me build up my social media game. But my page on Instagram is DAWKHAIG7, so DogHaig7. That is also my email address. If you send it to doghaig7@AOL or doghaig7@Gmail or doghaig7@Yahoo, all of those come to me. So that's easy. I try to make my life easy. On Facebook, my name is just simply my name, D. Dawkins Hagler. I have a fan page, and then I have a regular private page. And then on, what's that thing called?
Snapchat?
Twitter.
Tell me you have a Snapchat.
So Twitter, I have a Snapchat, but I've never done a Snap before because I don't know how to do it. So I guess I'm going to have to get my kids or somebody to show me.
If I turn on Snapchat and see you with a dog filter one day, I'm out of Snapchat, man. Like, I don't want to be on Snapchat no more.
What's a dog filter?
It's like when you have the dog ears, and it'd be like, it's the thing on Snapchat. Like, everybody be doing it.
Oh, okay.
It's hilarious.
Okay.
Actually, it's not that hilarious. Just don't do it.
Okay. So what I'm just saying is, so I have the Twitter, and that is just the letter D, Dawkins Hagler, one word all together, D. Dawkins Hagler. That's my Twitter handle. So everything, you can find me if you need me. I really want you all to go and help me build my social media page. So go to my what you say? Instagram, Twitter,
Facebook,
and Snapchat. So if enough people follow me on Snapchat, I guess I'll start chatting.
Snapping.
Oh,
that's what's up. Hey, do your first one here during the podcast. Yeah, that'd be cool. We'll introduce her to Snapchat tonight.
I will do my first one here with you right here.
We can do that. We can do that. I do not mind that. All right.
Will you bring me my phone, Regina?
This is the part in life when you moving on up. You got politicians sitting here in the room and they want to do their first snap with you.
Let's see how this is gonna be though, because it's too much stuff in this room, so it's just gonna be me and you.
We ain't incriminating you at all. I know you got to run for office again.
Okay. I have no idea. I probably should practice and come back another day and do it because I have no idea.
Well, you know what? Herb just peer pressured you. I understand that. Okay. So we got Snapchat pulled up, folks. Let's walk D. Dawkins Hagler into how to use Snapchat.
Okay. So what we doing?
Okay. First, you're gonna have to screw it back up. We're gonna have to swing this around so you can see both of our faces. We'll see the world.
See, my stuff is not even set up yet.
That's what I was about to say. This is how.
It's not even set up yet.
Next. That is so. Yeah, yours isn't even set up.
See, because I'm not ready. We're going to have to do it.
Oh, no, I got you.
Okay,
so what? We're going to swoop this around. Okay, see there go me and you.
So what are we doing?
We're going to press down right here.
And why are we pressing that?
We pressing this because you got to hold on to this button so you can film.
And what are we saying?
We just going to say, hey, we're on Cash Color Cannabis Podcast on Live Hip Hop Daily. All right, so we're going to do, all right, on 3, we're going to do D. Dawkins Hagler's first Snapchat on LivehiphopDaily.tv. So on count of 3, man. 1, 2, 3. Hey, we down here at Cash Color Cannabis Podcast on Live Hip Hop Daily. Say hi, man.
Hi, I am D. Dawkins Hagler, and with me is the great Mecca, and we're here with a great room of people, a great cloud of witnesses.
That happened. Her first Snapchat story. Thank you very much, man, for allowing us to do that for you.
Okay. So.
Well, I appreciate you for coming by tonight. Again, this Friday, the Thursday and Friday, they have the hemp and cannabis.
So come to my event on Thursday night at Arpace DM. It's from 5 to 8. It's a mixer. There are going to be some elected officials there. So if you want to sit and have the time to talk to the people who are going to be on the panel on Friday, that is your time, because all of them have to get back home. They will not have time to speak to anyone individually on Friday. Some other industry leaders will be there. That is 5 to 8, Thursday the 20th at Arpace DM. You can look that up, ARPESDIEM, downtown. So come on out, give me a shout out, and I'll be there 5 to 8.
All right, that's what it is, man. So I appreciate everybody for coming through. I appreciate everybody for checking out. We're going to fade to black tonight with an interview we did actually while we was in LA with Honarable Butler. Coincidence, while we're out here tonight with Bake Nation and Uncle Dudes. Her new brand, Sweet James Jones infused barbecue sauce, is up there. Check that out. It's made in the memory of her late husband, Pimp C. So it's definitely it's named after him, Sweet James Jones. So we're going to watch her interview where she speaks about Sweet James Jones brand and where Pimp C would fit in the cannabis industry. So y'all watch that. We're going to fade to black. We're going to kick it for a little while. We're going to get you some more water. And we're going to chill out here at the Live Hip Hop Daily Studios, man. Appreciate everybody for coming out. Again, if you're using Instagram, the hashtag is CCC Live. CCC Live. Cash Color Cannabis, a high level of conversation on Live Hip Hop Daily TV. We out.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.